The film opens in Bristol, UK, on a cold December evening. Inside a dimly lit pub, we find an exhausted Santa Claus, sitting at the bar. His red suit, once bright and cheerful, now looks worn out, matching the weary expression on his face. He slowly downs a glass of liquor, clearly disillusioned by his duties. After finishing his drink, he signals the bartender for another. As he waits, a man dressed as Santa walks into the bar. The two Santas lock eyes, and the newcomer asks with a chuckle if the real Santa has just finished his shift. Santa, with a wry smile, replies that he's taking a break between rounds. The other man jokes about how the reindeer know the way, and that Santa just rides along, prompting laughter from both the man and the bartender, who assume he's just a clever impersonator. Santa's mood, however, quickly shifts to a more serious tone. He reveals that he's thinking about quitting his job. The reason? The children of the world have become selfish and materialistic. A far cry from the pure-hearted joy and excitement he used to witness on Christmas Eve. He gets up from his stool, tips the bartender, and hands her a small wrapped gift, cryptically telling her it's for her grandson. Confused, she looks at him with suspicion. After all, how could he possibly know her grandson's name? She watches him head towards the roof exit, and, curious about his strange behavior, decides to follow him. But when she reaches the roof, Santa is nowhere to be found. She looks up into the night sky, just in time to see a sleigh and reindeer flying off, leaving her stunned and in disbelief. And just as she begins to process what she's witnessing, Santa throws up over the edge of the sleigh, splattering the astonished bartender below. It's a less than majestic exit, perfectly setting the tone for this offbeat holiday adventure. The film then shifts gears and takes us to Greenwich, Connecticut, where we meet Jason Lightstone, a man anxiously awaiting the arrival of his estranged wife, Linda, who is coming to pick him up along with their young daughter, Trudy. Jason, visibly tense, tries to stay calm as he and Linda exchange awkward pleasantries, their strained relationship palpable. He's grateful that she's willing to accompany him to his mother's lavish estate for Christmas, even though the family dynamics are clearly uncomfortable for both of them. When Linda and Trudy finally arrive, the trio heads to the grand Lightstone family mansion, where they are greeted by the gatekeeper, who allows them inside. As they drive up the long, winding road leading to the opulent home, it's clear that this will be no ordinary Christmas gathering. Inside the sprawling mansion, chaos reigns as the staff prepares for the holiday festivities. It's a scene of organized disorder, with decorations being hung, food being prepared, and the family buzzing with their usual mix of dysfunction and competitive tension. Jason's sister, Alva, is the first to greet them, accompanied by her arrogant teenage son, Bert, and her current boyfriend, a man whose charm is as superficial as his interest in family matters. The Lightstones are wealthy, powerful, and dysfunctional, and the air is thick with underlying resentment, particularly between Jason and his sister. As the family gathers for dinner, the tension between Jason and Linda becomes evident. They try to put on a brave face for Trudy, but it's clear that their marriage is on the rocks. Later that evening, after a stiff and formal dinner, Jason and Linda tuck Trudy into bed. The little girl is disappointed, as Jason had promised to take her to the mall to see Santa, but he had forgotten in the midst of his preoccupation with family drama. Feeling guilty, Jason gives Trudy an early Christmas present, a walkie-talkie. He tells her that she can use it to talk directly to Santa. Trudy, with the innocence of a child, believes her dad, and her face lights up as she clutches the device. Once Jason and Linda leave the room, Trudy talks into the walkie-talkie, telling Santa that her only Christmas wish is for her parents to get back together. Meanwhile, Santa, still making his rounds and delivering presents, has become increasingly intoxicated. As he flies from house to house, he drinks more and more, becoming visibly drunk. His next stop, the Lightstone estate. Upon arriving, he stumbles across the cookies and milk that Trudy left out for him. Santa, now more interested in a massage chair he finds than in delivering presents, sits down and begins to relax, taking a bottle of alcohol from his sack. Little does he know, danger is about to descend upon the mansion. At the same time, one of the Lightstone bodyguards, who has been secretly working for a group of mercenaries, enters the security room and knocks out the guard on duty. He radios his accomplices to let them know the plan is in motion. Outside the estate, the leader of the mercenaries, known as Mr. Scrooge, arrives and tells the gatekeeper that he has a flat tire and needs assistance. As the unsuspecting gatekeeper turns his back, Mr. Scrooge pulls out a gun and shoots him dead. His team of ruthless mercenaries swiftly moves in, eliminating the remaining guards and taking control of the mansion. Inside the home, Jason's mother, Gertrude Lightstone, is hurried into a panic room by her personal bodyguard. But before they can fully secure the room, Mr. Scrooge and his mercenaries break in, killing the guards and taking Gertrude, Jason, Alva, Bert, and the rest of the family hostage. Unbeknownst to them, Santa is still inside the mansion, obliviously enjoying his drink. As Linda and Jason argue over their failing marriage in another part of the house, they suddenly hear gunfire. Panic spreads through the mansion, and the Lightstone family is forced into the living room by the mercenaries. Santa, finally realizing something is wrong, tries to escape through the chimney using his magic. But because he's too drunk, his powers don't work, leaving him stranded. Just as Santa is discovered by one of the mercenaries, a brutal fight ensues. Despite his drunken state, Santa manages to throw the mercenary out of a window. Back in the living room, Mr. Scrooge taunts Gertrude, revealing that he knows about her secret $30 million stash in the vault hidden within the mansion. Gertrude warns him that the vault is impenetrable, but Scrooge isn't easily deterred. He smugly tells her that he knows all about the special button that can change the locks, and that his team is already working on hacking the vault. Meanwhile, one of his men informs him that one of their accomplices has been killed, presumably by Santa. Realizing that an unexpected player has entered the scene, Mr. Scrooge orders his men to search the house. Santa, now fully aware of the danger, tries to call the police, only to find that the phone lines have been cut. As he searches the house for a way to help the family, he stumbles upon another mercenary. In a tense game of cat and mouse, Santa digs through his sack for a weapon and pulls out a doll. Using it as a distraction, he manages to knock out the mercenary but is soon overpowered. After a brutal struggle, Santa finally kills him. Back in the living room, Linda tries to calm Trudy, who is hiding nearby, telling her to stay quiet. Trudy, still clutching her walkie-talkie, begins talking to Santa. To her surprise, Santa responds. He reassures her that he's going to help her and the family, but he needs her to stay safe. Moved by her bravery, Santa promises Trudy that he'll do everything he can to protect her. Meanwhile, Mr. Scrooge becomes increasingly suspicious of the family. particularly Jason, whom he believes may be hiding something. When Jason tries to deflect attention from himself, Mr. Scrooge tortures him by breaking his fingers with a nutcracker. Trudy, witnessing her father in pain, steps forward and tells Mr. Scrooge to stop, warning him that Santa will punish him. Scrooge dismisses her claims, but Trudy insists that she's been talking to the real Santa. Her conviction is so strong that it even begins to unnerve some of the mercenaries. As chaos continues to unfold, Santa stitches himself up after being wounded in one of the earlier fights. While he recovers, he has a flashback to his past, a time long before he was Santa Claus, back when he was a warrior, wielding a mighty hammer and fighting in battles. This glimpse into his past reveals that Santa wasn't always jolly. He used to be a fierce warrior who took pleasure in battle, a past he's tried to leave behind.